Every year when it comes to the NFL draft process, there are always players that have mixed reviews, and this year is no different. But we may have not seen a prospect this polarizing in quite some time, and that player is none other than the quarterback out of Michigan, J.J. McCarthy. Now, it's understandable as to why he has such mixed reviews, due to him not having much tape to look at. Now, I know that sounds weird because we did see him start 28 games in college, so you'd assume we have enough of a sample size to see where he is as a prospect, but that just isn't the case. You see, although McCarthy did go 27-1 in his college career, he actually wasn't asked to do much at all. Yet, some teams have him as a top 3 quarterback prospect, and reports are saying some are even looking to trade up for him specifically. On the other end, some will tell you he's way too raw of a prospect and is viewed as a second round talent. Then there are those fans that'll tell you he's a day 3 draft pick. But at the end of the day, we're not the ones making the picks. So with all these mixed reviews and it being smoke season, no one really knows where JJ McCarthy stands. And for that reason, I wanted to make a video breaking down what I see from him. And you can come to the decision where you stand on JJ McCarthy. The first thing you will hear a lot of people say about him is that he is a winner. Plain and simple. And it's true. He is. Whether it's college or high school, this man has consistently been a winner. As I stated earlier, that shows on his record in college as he went 27-1 as a starter, with his only loss coming against TCU in the playoffs, which honestly was probably one of his worst games, but he did finish the game stronger than he started, and I do believe they could have beaten Georgia had they won that game. But we're not here to talk about that. Now, with us seeing McCarthy play on some of the biggest stages in college football, we have seen how he deals with pressure, and he is honestly the definition of unfazed. Whether he was facing Ohio State, Bama, TCU, or even Washington, the moment never felt too big for him to handle, which is probably why his teammates and coaches have high praise for his ability to lead and rally his teammates. But there's more to JJ McCarthy than just that. In fact, he has a lot of things that should transfer well over to the NFL. When watching him this past season, we can see that he has a pro-ready arm and can make just about any throw that is asked of him. To add to that, he has plenty of zip on the ball, which allows him to fit the ball through many tight windows in the middle of the field. Not to mention that he also has great accuracy on all 3 levels, and he really improved at going through his progressions and reading defenses from 2022 to 2023, which allowed him to be a lot more decisive with his throws. Now, when it comes to him in the pocket, McCarthy has a great feel for the pressure around him and isn't afraid to step up in the face of pressure to deliver throws. Which leads me to another thing. Even when faced with pressure, he moves around the pocket well and always keeps his eyes downfield, which allows him to find receivers or make plays outside of structure, which is personally one of my favorite traits for quarterbacks to have. And actually, he's one of the most efficient quarterbacks outside of structure and rollouts in this class. Another thing about McCarthy is that he isn't exactly the most mobile quarterback, but he can still be a threat with his legs if he decides to turn it upfield. But he is a pass-first quarterback. A big thing that McCarthy has going for him against most quarterbacks in this class is that he has plenty of experience playing under center. With having played in a pro-style offense, his footwork is really well developed and is something he improved on from 2022 to 2023 as well. Lastly, he will only be 21 years old going into his rookie year. In fact, he just recently turned 21 less than 3 months ago, so he is extremely young with plenty of room to grow and develop as a player, which is something coaches will love to see. I personally tend to like the younger prospects as well when it comes to the quarterback position, but that's also a preference thing. However, with him being so young, there are some things he will need to work on before going to the next level. First off, McCarthy can be way too aggressive on passes sometimes. He is a confident passer, but his confidence can get the best of him sometimes, as we saw against Bowling Green in the almost interception on the first drive against Bama. If his confidence continues to get the best of him, he could be in for a rude awakening at the next level with bigger and faster defenders. Another thing with him is that everything is a fastball. Even with the deep balls, they come out like line drives. If he doesn't learn to take some juice off the ball at times, it could lead to drops from receivers, which I feel is a problem with quite a few quarterbacks today in the league, notably Justin Herbert. who people often talk about his receivers having a lot of drops. I wonder why. But learning to put a little touch on passes and add more air on your deep ball passes should be something coaches could easily fix, so I'm not too worried about that. McCarthy also has a tendency to throw passes behind moving receivers, which can prevent receivers from getting yards after catch or just making it harder for them to get the catch in general. And although he did improve on going through his progressions this past season, he still has a tendency to get stuck on his first read, which can ruin the timing for other routes to be open. But above all else, even though there are positives and negatives to take away from his tape, he still doesn't have much reps to look at. I mean, this past season, he wasn't asked to do much because he never had to do much at all. His team was dominant in most games throughout the year, and the opposing teams could never stop their run game. So why would they abandon it when the other team couldn't stop it? And they were up on the scoreboard. For example, when they played Penn State, who arguably had the best defense in the nation, he only threw the ball 8 times. And all of those attempts were in the first half, because once they found out Penn State had no way to stop their run game, they simply just didn't even attempt another pass. So that's why teams are super mixed on JJ McCarthy, because there isn't much to look at. I know with a lot of players in the draft, it's about how you project them to translate and develop once they get to the NFL, but with McCarthy, projection is taken to another level. So if you see potential in JJ McCarthy and think you can get it out of him, then hey, swing for the fences. But you better be in a comfortable position as the GM, because if McCarthy doesn't get the chance to develop or is put in the wrong situation for him to succeed, then you may be looking for another quarterback in a few years' time. And we all know how impatient team owners can be. It is a pretty cutthroat league after all. I do believe though, if he is given the time to develop and put in the right situation, he can see some level of success at the next level. But you can say that about a lot of players. With all that being said, let me know what you think about JJ McCarthy down in the comments below, and whether or not you would take him in the top 5. So overall, who knows how he'll end up at the next level? But if you're the team drafting him, be ready, because JJ McCarthy is a boom or bust.